them there. Take them someplace else or send them back to Venezuela. I don't care where they go. This is wrong. You got 73% of the people homeless in this city are black people. What have you done for them?
There were lots of fireworks over the migrants moving into the Lakeshore Hotel for 6 months.
So now the people in Chicago are up in arms over the migrant crisis. Let's talk about it. Now, the citizens of Chicago have been going through a lot in these past couple of years. First, they had these progressive politicians who wanted to defund the police. As you can see here, Chicago mayor proposed an $80 million cut from the police budget. Now, all this talk about defunding the police didn't help anything, because when they did take money from the police department, crime skyrocketed.
A 3-year-old shot in the chest last night is now recovering in the hospital. That shooting part of a significant surge in violence this summer.
WGN's Tanya Francisco joining us now with worrisome crime stats. Tanya.
When you look at the numbers, Patrick and Micah, unbelievable. The month of June alone, there was a dramatic increase in murders and shootings. And when you look at this past week alone, murders were up 286% and shootings were up 193%. The head of the police union blames it in part on the mayor and low morale among officers. But the mayor says the problem is much bigger than that.
I bet it was. So after the mayor and the woke politicians there decided to defund the police department and crime just kind of went crazy, they reversed course and said, well, maybe defunding the police department isn't the right approach.
Police department budget will increase. No question. We have to. We have to make sure that we are continuing to provide resources to recruit the next generation of police officers, and in particular make sure that we're doing that recruitment in a way that reflects the diversity of our city. So I expect that the police department itself will recommend a more fulsome recruiting process and team of permanent officers that go across the country to recruit the best and the brightest talent, in addition to making sure that we mine the opportunities here in Chicago for talent. We haven't done that before, but we will do that, and that will be part of the proposal.
So you heard that right. The mayor totally backtracked on defunding the police and said, we're going to increase the police budget. Why? Because it was getting insane in Chicago. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, I want you to check this out. Leaked documents expose the secretive market for your web browsing data. Now, you may already know this, but who's buying that data? Well, let me not hide the ball. The FBI just admitted it bought US location data and other web browsing data, which is crazy, right? The government saying, yeah, we're buying it. So you may be thinking, Nate, don't they need a warrant for that? And I'm going to tell you they don't. That's why now some US senators are coming and saying they oppose warrantless government surveillance of Americans' browsing history, which is crazy. And it's not only government, it's hackers, it's companies, like your data is for sale. So your next question is, well, Nate, how do we stop them? Well, now that brings us to the sponsor of this video, Private Internet Access VPN. This is the world's most transparent VPN provider with over 30 million downloads. Now, I'm going to tell you, they never record or store your user data, and there's a no-log policy. And this has been proven in court multiple times. Private Internet Access hides your IP address and encrypts your internet connection. This way, it shields your digital life from the eyes of your internet service provider, network administrators, and the government, the FBI. Yes, it protects you from the government. Now, I use a VPN every time I access the internet for protection, and the sponsor of this video, Private Internet Access VPN, is one of the best. Now, what do I love about this VPN? Well, with one account, you can protect unlimited devices. And you know what else you get? You get to hide your IP address. You get a server in every state and in multiple countries around the world. You can connect to streaming services around the world and watch content that's not available where you are. And use the link in the description and in the pinned comment and you'll get 83% off and 4 months free. Now, for that deal, you go to piavpn.com/Nate the Lawyer. Let me say that again. piavpn.com/Nate the Lawyer. And for $2.03 per month, you get this fantastic deal. Now, let's just keep it 100. For $2.03 per month, is that worth keeping the government out of your internet browsing history? I would say yeah. Now, click on that link in the description and check it out for yourself. Now, let's get back to the video. So, you know what the good citizens of Chicago did? They voted that mayor out. Why? Because, remember, it was defund the police or see you later. And unfortunately, this mayor had to go.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she's lost her bid for re-election.
That's right. She came in third in last night's Democratic primary, leaving her out of the April 4th runoff. Paul Vallas, the city's former public school CEO, who ran on Tough on Crime, and Brandon Johnson, the Cook County commissioner, backed by progressives, will both advance to the runoff. Lightfoot broke barriers 4 years ago as the first black woman and first openly gay person to lead the city. She also makes history as the first incumbent in 40 years to be defeated after just one term.
So the good mayor of Chicago was defeated because she increased the police budget, and they brought in someone who said that they were going to cut the police budget by $150 million. But eventually he backtracked too and said he's not really going to cut the police budget. So we'll see how he does when it comes to re-election. But this video isn't about the defunding of the police, which is crazy in and of itself. It's about the migrant crisis. So Chicago under Lori Lightfoot also made itself one of the seminal sanctuary cities in America, inviting all immigrants and protecting them from any types of deportation in America. Here's exactly the policy that Lori Lightfoot and the good politicians, the progressive politicians of Chicago did. This is what they did.
With the stroke of a pen, your rights will be at long last fully protected.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and a group of determined aldermen and community groups pushing back with a newly amended welcoming city ordinance.
We are a sanctuary city, and now we have a robust protection of undocumented immigrants.
A truly welcoming city means we have to walk the walk and protect everyone's due process rights.
Chicago's welcoming city ordinance forbids police from stopping or arresting a person based solely on the suspicion about their immigration status. It blocks police from providing support to federal immigration enforcement operations, and it prevents city agencies from requesting, maintaining, or sharing immigration status. The changes after years of controversial federal immigration and customs enforcement raids across the country and here in Chicago. Harsh Trump administration policies on immigration criticized by human rights groups drawing fire. Zero tolerance enforcement at the border.
So Chicago is 100% a sanctuary city. They're not going to do anything about deportations. They want people to come in. They were protesting in the streets for it, right? Same thing like New York. The governor of the state of Texas and Arizona said, okay, you guys want to be a sanctuary city? Well, we're going to send you the people who want sanctuary, right? We're going to send you those people. So this is what the governor of Texas and Arizona did.
I'm Casey Cronus, live from Union Station, where sources tell us more migrant buses from Texas could be arriving in the next day or two. This comes after Mayor Lori Lightfoot sent a letter to Texas Governor Greg Abbott Sunday asking him to stop the buses, saying the city's shelters are overrun. After taking in more than 8,000 migrants since last August, city officials say resources are dwindling. Some migrants have ended up sleeping in police stations, including the 3rd District.
Literally, these people are sleeping in a foyer between two glass doors, not even inside of the police station.
Here are those images of migrants literally sleeping on the floor of police stations in Chicago because all of these shelters are filled up. So now that brings us full circle. See, Chicago has a huge homeless population, and most of those homeless people happen to be black. But they're not being put up in hotels or anything like that. They're just kind of being forgotten because now you have the migrants. So the city seems to have started prioritizing what to do with these migrants. So one of the solutions was to put them in hotels, and the city would just pay the cost of the hotels. But now the people who live in Chicago, the poor black people, were like, well, hold on. How come these migrants get to jump to the front of the line and get to be put in hotels while the black people who are already homeless here looking for places to live have to still stay on the streets? And then all hell broke loose.
I don't want them there. Take them someplace else or send them back to Venezuela. I don't care where they go. This is wrong. You got 73% of the people homeless in this city are black people. What have you done for them?
There were lots of fireworks. over the migrants moving into the Lakeshore Hotel for 6 months, where 300 can be housed. Also, the city says it's a fluid situation and it will need to revisit that timeline. Even the alderman, Desmond Yancey of the 5th Ward, says he just found out about it last week.
I found out on Wednesday, called a meeting immediately. I don't know what happened before I got here. But in the spirit of transparency, this is why we're in the room, because I felt it was important for community members to know what was going on in their neighborhood, even if the mayor's office wasn't willing to.
It was standing room only inside the promontory. Residents had a lot of questions about police patrols, the change noticed in communities where migrants currently are, and the future plans for dealing with the migrant crisis.
Plymouth Court and Van Buren, that site looks like basically a bomb went off. So I'm concerned about the sites where the migrants are.
We have shelter rules that we implement across the sites.
New arrivals must wait 150 days to apply for a work permit. Those on the front line of dealing with this crisis says part of the solution is getting migrants seeking asylum work.
Without some remedies from the federal action, whether it's funding or the ability for folks to work, we find ourselves in a hole.
And despite the overall response from residents, come this Friday, that is the earliest that migrants will start moving into the hotel.
So now the people of Chicago are, I think, rightfully angry, right? The politicians made them a sanctuary city. They cut their police funding. And each one of these things have turned out horribly, horribly wrong, right? Now they're protesting, literally calling for migrants to be sent back to Venezuela. And all I can say is good for them. Good that this is happening. See, they voted in these idiots. And now they have to suffer with the knowledge that the stupidity that they were being sold about, defunding the police and having open borders was good for America and it's good for them. And now it's unfortunately blown up in their face. And I think the even worse part about this is the people who are supposed to be the ones most protected by these woke policies of defunding the police and open borders, are the people most hurt by these same policies. The black people in those neighborhoods are the ones suffering the most based on all these policies. That's just a fact. Now, you can tell me I'm a right-wing lunatic, you can say that I'm an idiot, write it all up in the comment section. But at the end of the day, these people keep voting for this nonsense. And it keeps getting worse and keeps getting worse. And I don't feel sorry for them. Because just like in San Francisco, just like in New York, and now in Chicago, you get what you vote for. And you voted for this lunacy. Especially in Chicago, think about it. They have the highest murder rate in the country. They have, crime is up 30%. And you're sitting there and you're wondering, like, somebody thought it was a good idea to defund the police. Like, how can you go into a meeting and be like, all right, crime is going out of control. I'm going to tell you my plan. Defund the police. And these people vote you in. That's crazy. Matter of fact, vote out the last person because the last person was like, hey, this kind of defund the police thing isn't going really, isn't really a good idea. We're going to actually give them more money. Get her out of there. Get me the guy who says he wants to defund the police. But these people continue to vote for these disastrous policies. Hopefully one day it'll wake up. It's interesting because it seems now that the woke have to wake up. How crazy is that? Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you next time.